Good evening. This is the Nickie V Smith Show. This is a special show. This is where parents are coming all in, and we all are trying to find solutions to help our children, help others, our loved ones, not to put fear in them, but to alert them about sexual predators. There are sexual predators in every walk of life. But before we get started, I want to welcome the guests, the panel. We have, as I call out your names, everybody, just wave to the public so they'll know who you are. Can everybody hear me pretty well? Everybody good?
Yes.
Sandra Johnson? Okay. Risa Wheat. Hi, Risa.
Hi, everybody.
Ed Wheat. Hi, Ed. Nigel Smart.
Hey there, Nickie.
Hi, Nigel. Dr. Emma Kelly Rhodes. Okay, she's trying to get in right now. Reginald Cooper.
That is I. That is me.
Hi, Reginald.
Hey.
Sandra Johnson. Sandra Johnson.
Take yourself off mute, Auntie. Wave, Sandra.
She'll get it in a minute. It's the way I can do it. Okay, ask to unmute. I got it there. Maybe she'll get it. Okay, our next guest is Angela Birdsong.
I am here.
Hi, Angela.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
And we have one more trying to come in, and that is Dr. Dana Hobart. So we wish them well. If they can get in, we thank them for coming. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to show up today. It is a sensitive topic, and it's been going on for generations on top of generations on top of generations. What is that topic? That topic is rape, sex trafficking. That topic is age old and domestic violence. And we, as a collective group of people, some of us are survivors and some of us are not. But most of us are parents. And if we're not parents, we're concerned citizens. It's been going on from generation to generation to generation. Now, understand, we cannot save the world. But what we can do is alert our children, our other loved ones, and make noise. Make noise. Okay? This panel has come together today so that we can talk about certain subjects, this subject, and we're going to ask certain questions. There is no wrong, there is no right. We are trying to figure it out. No one knows what is right or wrong. Hi, Sandra Johnson. I see you unmuted. Okay, she's working on it. She's got that look, you
Yes.
got that look. Okay, I'm going to start off with some questions that I have here. I hate to turn the phone off on them, but we're going to have to move on, and I don't want the phone on. If you will, silence your phones so make sure nothing is on. I do have my questions here, and so give me a minute, and we're going to get started. I pray that all of you are doing better, because I know for a fact that Risa and Ed Wheat have been sick with COVID, but I'm grateful to you being here tonight. And I'm going to limit the questions to you because I know that you're coughing, and I don't want to irritate that even more. So, okay. So let me go here. like I'm such an expert, y'all. Huh? Got me wrong. Oh, wrong phone too. turned off the questions, y'all. We're gonna get it. Just hang in here. This is a beautiful day, and I will not allow anything to bother this beautiful day. Shut this one down. And here we go. I have questions, and I am so blessed. I feel so grateful. I feel so grateful to have all of you take time out of your busy schedules from all over the world, all over everywhere. I'm just thankful. I am so thankful. So give me a second here, and here we go. I'm going to ask if you would keep your answers to at least no more than 2 minutes. We have a lot to cover today, and we want as many answers as possible so that once we show it on the air, everybody will come in and think about the question that's been asked. Not only will they think about it, we're asking them to comment and give their version of what we should and should not do. Because again, this is a learning agent. These are general questions. And at what age should conversation with your child about sexual predators begin? I'm going to start with Risa Wheat. At what age, Risa, should conversation with your child about sexual predators begin?
I think you should start talking to your child age appropriately, as young as maybe 5 or 6, and start communicating with your child about how important it is for open conversation. And I think you have to, gear it in a way that, again, that's age appropriate. But I think it's age as young as age 5. You should start trying to prepare your child for what they might encounter or who they might encounter.
Okay. Reginald Cooper, what is your response to that?
I too believe age 5 is appropriate because they're at a learning age and they receive things a lot when you especially going one-on-one with them, whether it's from your father or your mother, and they accept everything that you tell them. So age 5, I think, is appropriate as well.
Okay. What if I tell you guys that I too believe that we should start as early as possible? And some, depending on that child's development. Everybody's an individual, and we should start as early as possible. Don't limit to 5 or 6. Why did I say this? Now get ready, because it's going to shock you, and it's going to hurt you. And I have to suck it up, y'all, and don't cry. I'm working on getting tough. Old age making me not tough. I used to be tough. But old age is making me softer. So I was sent a video of a child, and some man had his penis in her mouth, and she was a toddler. She was wearing diapers. She was anywhere between 1 and 2 years old. Now, I have since heard that he has been arrested, which he should have been. He should have been. I'm not going to tell you what I think he should have been done to, but I think he should have been arrested. And I don't think that we as taxpayers should have to pay for him to be in jail. I think we should think about what's been said and move forward. Okay, let's go to another question. Hey, any questions that I asked? If you want to answer that question, please raise your hand. There's a mechanic hand down there, or you can raise your own hand. I'm going to address you. And you better believe I can't help these folks trying to get in because I'm learning. And I'm so sorry. Because they are buzzing in, trying to get in, but I'm learning too as I go. So, I'll apologize to them a little bit later, but we got to keep moving. All right. For those of you who are parents, have you begun to have these difficult conversations with your child? If you have a grown child, do you remember at what age your child was when you started these discussions? This is a compound question, okay? For those of you who are parents, have you begun to have these difficult conversations with your child? If you have a grown child, do you remember at what age your child was when you started these discussions? I'm going to start with Nigel Smart.
Hey there, Nikki.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm father of 6, as you know. I just in a follow-up to the previous question, I think it's really important that you do start as young as possible. Having said that, I think it needs to be age appropriate. I think that the example that you just shared with us was disgusting, and in other cultures, that man would be summarily dealt with in a way that we would probably consider barbaric in this country. I'm not passing personal judgment, but
Well, I'm with you on that. I just decided to shut up.
sometimes, we have a peculiar morality in the West. And I think sometimes when we look at globally, other people have solutions and they don't have quite the same problems that we have here. Yeah, I'm a father of 6, and I have become increasingly, I have 2 daughters that are teenagers, one 18 now and another one at 14. And so, yeah, you have those conversations. I think the important thing is you have a rapport as a parent. You're not their best friends. You're not their friends. You are friendly with them, but you're a parent and you should parent appropriately. I think you need to set up a dialogue. It's a sustainable, continuous process. It's not easy. But I think as parents, one of our duties is to have a good rapport with our children. And it's difficult at teenage age. I've butted heads with my dad, and I've had my boys butt heads with me, and my daughters. As they become young ladies, they want to have much more freedom than maybe their mother or I would have wanted them to have at certain ages. So I think you have to have a dialogue. I think you need to be open enough in a way that you don't come across creepy, that you don't come across as imposing. We all know what happens when we do that. They shut down. If they don't want to tell us something, you'll get the I'm okay, or I'm fine, or I don't want to talk about that, or they just go quiet on you. So it's incumbent upon us as parents to use our skills. And I think we need to be clever at the way we disarm them. And I think the disarming process, as I'm sure you all know, those of you that are parents, it's not easy. I don't think you can beat up on yourself, because it's each one of us at times will find that we're not getting through. I don't think that that's a reason to back off, but you have to be sensitive and you have to understand that sensitivity and then work on it appropriately. I think that's about the best answer I can give you, Nikki.
I do appreciate that, and I think it's a great answer. I think everybody here has a great answer. No wrong, no right. We're trying to see what to do about this.
Right.
Let's ask Angela Birdsong the same question. Angela?
Yes, well, I don't have any children. I don't have any children, but I have plenty of nieces and nephews for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, just piggybacking on the previous question, I have felt like it should be prior to 5 years old also, that it should be younger. That just as you, teach a child about their nose, you should teach them about their private parts also. And let them know this is private. This is, whatever the wording would be, right? And then I also thought about that sometimes you get children and they may not be your own biological children.
Mhm.
And so depending on what circumstances they're coming from, if you're a foster care household, or you're adopting a child, or you're taking in some children, then the exposure to sexual activities may be different. And that type of assessment has to be done still, of course, appropriately. And so as we're answering these questions, I'm wondering, or is there a manual that tells you what those talking points should be for a 1-year-old, for a 2-year-old, a 3 and onward to 25, right? Because you got to have these conversations when they go to college also, because it's a different type of exposure.
Right.
And so back to the second question.
Would you
I
like to
didn't have
repeat
these
it?
conversations with any of my nieces and nephews when they were young, because fortunately they have good parents.
Okay.
But those conversations came into play when they became young adults.
Uh-huh.
And so I remember one time I'm sitting with my nieces and we're at a local event, Black Women's Forum in Leimert Park, that Congresswoman Maxine Waters puts on annually. And I'm sitting at the table with 4 of my nieces, and I asked them, I said, does anybody plan to get married one day? Does anyone want to have children one day? And all of them had different answers.
Okay.
All of them had different answers. And then they posed the question on me, because remember, they're adults, right? They're
Right.
young women in their 20s. And they said, well, Auntie, why don't you never had any children? And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, here we go. We got to have some real conversations here. So, yeah, I, most definitely think these conversations are ongoing and appropriate for the age and the exposure that the child already has had to different type of sexual activity.
Okay. Okay. I think that is a great answer also, because a lot of children, and you made points about foster care. A lot of children are abused in foster care. Now, not all foster parents are bad parents. Some of them are loving people, and some of them are horrible. They are horrible. This is just life, y'all. We have got to figure it out, and we are not even sure if it's going to work. But like I said in the beginning, we can make some noise. And that's a good, if we don't have a manuscript on a bullet point, why don't we create our own? It's like writing a dictionary. Let's write our own words, you see? We got to go out and be conquerors, baby. That's the way I believe. Isn't that right, Nigel?
Absolutely.
What you read? Cool.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Hey there, Ed Wheat. How you feeling, buddy?
Pretty good right now.
Okay, well, let's pop a
Just had
question.
a fire truck go by, so I definitely was muted and could barely hear you. So, okay.
Okay, okay,
Timing.
okay. Are you feeling better?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Great,
yeah. Way better.
great, great. I have a question for you. I'm going to
Yeah.
start with you. Who should initiate these conversations with the child? Should it only be mothers, women? What about you fathers on the panel? What about grandmothers, aunts, and uncles?
Well, I think that basically the initial one is the father and mother. They're the ones, it's their child. They have to open up the communication. I actually thought about it and I said, I'm going to disagree with my wife on the age appropriate. Age appropriate is when they are able to communicate, period. When you're teaching them how to wash themselves, you emphasize that they wash themselves. It's not for somebody else to do. And that's just part of the natural bathing, cleaning, and getting them going. The communication is key, and that is the two parents. They have to talk. The kids should never feel that they can't ask a question at any given time, at anywhere. If they ask it and it's inappropriate, take the time to explain to them why it's inappropriate this time. Do not ignore the question. Go back to that question when it is supposedly appropriate.
Yes.
But it's all about the communication because, as Nigel said, they'll shut down if you go and tell them to do something. I know that
Right.
I shut down when I was like 4 or 5, and you told me no. What? That meant let me figure out how to go and do it.
Hmm.
Well, being aware of how bad I was, yeah, I have to approach it differently as the parent. Uh, I'm certain that we've had conversations as far as approaching the sex. There was a tape made by Nova that was on PBS that said the creation of life, the origin of life. And it was from the actual, basically, the sex portion all the way through to the birth. But it was done educational. And if you approach a child with the knowledge as it being educational, then it's a different thing. It's not something you don't talk about. It's not something that you have to hide or it's a secret that only you and a couple of people. No, this is it. Black and white. This is how you guys got here. It wasn't a bird that dropped you off.
Right.
It wasn't, we were rubbing bellies and all of a sudden you showed up. No, this is how it happened.
Absolutely.
It can be beautiful. It can be bad. But it always should be consensual. Okay?
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's things like that and just taking them through life and having that open communication that will allow you to hopefully give them the guidance to avoid the predators in life, and
Okay.
whether they are within your family or not. Because I'm not going to state as a father, no, I am one half of the ultimate. Mom is the other half of the ultimate. We rule. Grandparents are supportive. Everyone, aunts, nephews, nieces, the rest of the family are there supportive. But the one that the responsibility is on is me and her. Outside of that, that's what the title parent is to me. You take
Mhm.
that, that's your responsibility. You are the ultimate protector. That's it. And nobody can go and supersede that. No teachers, no coaches, no counselors, nothing. There to assist you. When one of you are the bad guy, the other one had better step up and take the point and get you out of it. Okay?
What happened? Okay, go ahead.
Hmm?
Go
Well, I'm
ahead.
sorry. What? No, I was just saying, if one half of the parental group is bad, the other parent has to go and fight to go and protect that child. The child didn't ask to be here.
Absolutely.
The child is here. You are to protect that child any way you can.
Okay. Now, that's
Okay?
coming from a wonderful father. That's coming from a supportive wife and husband and wife. What happens? What happens? Hi, Sandra Johnson.
Hi, I have to apologize
No
for
problem. No
having
problem.
problems getting on it. So I called my neighbor and he came over and helped me. So I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to continue with Ed and then we'll bring you, I'll
Okay,
come back around. Okay. Circle back to you. Okay.
thank you.
Ed, that is an absolutely great question and answer.
Mhm.
And you said the other one, here's the key words that stuck out with me, okay?
Mhm.
Has to step up, has to step up. What happens when the other one disappears because of fear, or they just go and leave because of fear? They don't have the courage to step up. They know that this is an awful situation because they've been living in there as husband and wife. And this person has been beating on them horribly, physically. And then they find out that this person not only have been beating on them, but have been doing inappropriate behavior with their children, starting with their daughters. What do you feel should happen there?
Well, ultimately, I feel that the children should be removed out of the situation because I believe that they would be better off adopted than to raise and to be brought up in that environment.
Okay.
But the thing is that how do you go and get that communicated outside of that household to someone?
Exactly.
And unfortunately, there are no black and white answers. As I was telling Risa before, we live in a rainbow world. It's not just shades of gray.
Yeah.
It's colors, shades, everything. No, there is no set answer to fix a problem. Everything has to be felt, has to be absorbed, and has to be analyzed and properly adjudicated basically afterwards. But this is a situation where if you are aware of it and you know of it, you have to go and step forward. If no one in the household says anything, child hopefully will say something to a teacher or, will actually go to the police or something on their own and get out of that situation. Because that's no way to grow. That's no way to live. Hey, I was brought up in a single parent family. And yes, there were people around that were predators.
Mm-hmm.
They just were opportunistic predators. But because of the communication I had with my mom, who was more wonderful in hindsight than she was at the time, it's like we had an open communication. I never was treated as a child that was told, no, you can't do this. I was always uplifted. I was always supported.
Mm-hmm.
And I benefit from that and made my number one goal was when I got to be older, the number one job in the world, be that parent that I didn't have. I wanted to be that parent.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my goal. And I happened to luck out and find a woman that had the same goals.
Mm-hmm.
So we're together. And that's what it's about. So it's like, it's not that I'm naive about the situations that are out there or how they can be handled. There is no easy way to handle it. But
Right.
I do know one thing. There is never a situation where the person that has been molested and abused is the reason for it. That is
Absolutely.
inexcusable. That is absolutely on. Not. It just
Absolutely.
is. It's never their fault. Society has failed them. Their parents have failed them. Other people have failed. They are not to blame.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you told me I only was supposed to talk for 2 minutes.
Well, I did. I was about to suggest that again, but I put you in a trap because I went back and asked you another question on top of a question. So it's not your fault. And if it gets bad, I'll stop everybody.
Oh.
We got plenty of time. I did that to you. I'll stand for that. I did that. Now
That's all right. That's all right because I can talk.
I love your answer. And I see these dads are paying attention and all of the ladies are paying attention. And stats are just that's just what they are. They're just different people's opinions on numbers. Because according to some stats, they've said every 4 minutes, a little girl is being raped or a woman is being raped. Every 6 minutes, a little boy is being raped. And then I got some more that says, hey, every 11 minutes, every 12 minutes, they don't know. They're trying to learn like we are. And they're just counting and saying what they want to say. Okay, let's include Sandra Johnson because you're sitting so beautifully and so patient and went and got your neighbor and got in. That's dedication, baby. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know Dr. Rhodes is trying to get in, but she's really a wonderful woman. I wanted you guys to meet her as well, but I can't stop the show to resend her the link. I'm sorry, Dr. Rhodes. I love you dearly. Thank you for reaching out. We'll catch you on the next time. We will have more shows. And I want to say, this is Angela Birdsong to all of you. I wasn't going to do this because I'm not supposed to call any of y'all out. In my mind, it's my show. I can do it any way I want to. But she runs a radio show. And the radio show will give you exposure to what you do if you become one of her people to get on the show, to be interviewed. Just keep her in mind, okay? Angela Birdsong. All right, now let's get back to business. Well, Auntie, I'm sitting here looking like that. I wasn't supposed to call you that either.
I love it anyway.
I'm supposed to be calling you Miss Johnson. You guys, I love it. I love you. Here's some kiss to every single one of you because I'm just blowing it, but I'm happy to doing it. So we're gonna keep moving, okay, Auntie? You already busted, baby.
I read it. That's good. That's what I answer to.
Okay, hey, Auntie. I want to ask the same question I asked Ed Wheat. Who should initiate these conversations with the child? Should it only be mothers? What about the fathers on the panel? Grandmothers, aunts, or uncles?
Initially, I have to agree with Ed. I think it should be the mom and the dad. And I think that now, if abuse is going on and outsiders such as teachers, grandparents, aunts, church, whatever, if they know it, it is their responsibility to step in after that. I'm talking about if the abuse is between the parents. But I think the communication with the children starts right at the beginning of when they're babies. I think you have to build that bond before these questions even come up. I think you build trust, you build bond, you start some type of communication when they are young. And when you are teaching them about the eyes, the nose, you teach them their whole body parts and you call them by the right names.
Right.
And you open up that communication. You want it to be age appropriate. You don't want to go too fast, but you want to let them know they're safe. You're going to keep them safe, that you want to have that trust. And I think that's where it starts. You've got to open up that communication and have the trust.
Okay. Nigel, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. I wanted to respond before when Ed was speaking. I think I'm on board with everything he said. The one caveat that I would say is, in divorced families or split families, I went through a divorce and it was very difficult for me to find out sometimes what was going on with my girls. And so that made that communication much more difficult. I will say that, sometimes, especially with teenage girls, teenage boys too, but teenagers, it's very difficult sometimes to have that communication. But I've found that grandparents can be a great resource here because grandparents somehow manage to get closer at times and be friends, especially when the children are having difficulties with their parents, which is inevitable. You're a person of authority and they want to rebut that authority at times. So I think that can be a great resource if it's used carefully. But, as I said at my outset, I think the parents have the responsibility, whether you're a single parent, whether you're in a situation like I am now where my wife is a stepmother. I think she can be great, especially if they get the relationship going with the girls like mine has. And you can find out, it's difficult for dads sometimes to find out what's going on with the girls. And so if you can use other mechanisms like that and get creative, just be curious, I think is a good word. Be curious and not intrusive. But I think if you come across as Inspector Clouseau type, you know, where you're giving them the, you know, the what is it, the third degree or the Spanish Inquisition, they're going to shut down on you. And they're really good at shutting down, especially today where they're communicating. Their phones, they're almost like a Borg these days. Their phones are almost stitched into their skin. They never put those things down. I come into the house and, you know, everybody's got their faces glued to these phones all the time. It's very difficult. You know, when we were growing up, it was TV. Turn the TV off. Now, try and get them to put their phones down. You'd think that you were asking, you know, for them, you know, to do something horrendous. It's something we have to live with. I don't like it. I haven't got the answers for that, but I think you can I think it's incumbent upon us as parents and as people in society generally to get curious and be creative, Nickie. And I would say, you know, I piggyback on the two answers that were just given that I think are bang on. But at the same time, think about these other situations because it's not one size fits all.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to jump in for a moment and I'm going to address Reginald Cooper. I'm giving him, Reginald, one of the things that I admire about you as a parent and as a man with a daughter. He has one daughter. He made sure that she was active in martial arts. So am I. And so is Reginald. And so is Nigel. So, unlike any of you, I didn't put my children into martial arts. Actually, I taught them myself. I taught them how to box. I taught them how to martial arts. But you put your daughter into martial arts. What prompted that?
It was basically because I believe all kids should learn a martial art to protect themselves when they're young, especially females. That's the reason why I put Candace in it, because I wanted her to be taken care of. And she, at age 4, kids learn a whole lot better because their brains absorb stuff a lot quicker. And she overwhelmed me because she outdone me myself. She accomplished world champion.
I've seen her.
And with the parental support, that means everything. And I have always bonded with her since day one. I was there when she was born, and even though her mother and I parted, that bond has never gone away. Today we're still as strong as ever. And I love my daughter, and everybody who knows me knows that I love my daughter, and it's going to always be there for her because a male perspective means a lot.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. As well as a woman's perspective. But there are just so many things that a man can teach a little girl.
Absolutely.
And there is so many things that a woman can teach a boy. So I think that it is important that they have a male